guys, it's MJ. How are you? So I was just meditating and I obviously had like a little journey in my mind, and it kind of made me feel a little bit emotional. And then I started thinking about this, like the bittersweetness of life, and like how we're always having to let go, how we're always having to just can carry on, basically, like just move forward on the life path that we've chosen. And knowing how connected the thought feeling healing loop is. And the reason I had this little like nugget of sensation was this feeling of like true forgiveness, and how we often like we might ask for forgiveness or whatever, and then that just sort of makes me think of how it's only ever ourselves that we're forgiving. And often if we think we need forgiving, it's ourselves we need to forgive. And we often don't even realize that we're harboring pain. I talk about it in the Fearless Life Guide about the karmic backlog, and how we all have like historic wounding. So we have like literally in our DNA, from our genes, our parentage, our lineage, our ancestry, like collectively we have wounds. Like we have wounds that we carry from our ancestry as far as our human history goes. And a lot of us, we're living in such weird times, and a lot of us like don't realize that we're acting those out, or we're carrying those, and they kind of perpetuate themselves in subtle ways or not so subtle ways in how we relate to other people, how we treat other people, or how we feel we can treat people as well. And I'm just sort of like wrapping my head around the diversity of life, and how everyone is different and everyone has a different perspective. And I'm really enjoying the openness that I feel in communication and dialogue with more and more people, and how even the subtlest of things can trigger like this like uncomfortable feeling. And then it's like, wait, that's a childhood thing, wait, that's a, and it traces back to being usually some form of trauma. And yet it's all weird in our head, because our usually our kind of what we think of trauma is some really severe war or violence, or just intensity. And actually, the situation I'm thinking of in my mind is like sitting beside a convenience store after going to get a chocolate bar. I was with a close person, and basically talking about other people in a kind of comparative way. And this was the nature of conversation. This would happen a lot in my childhood and my adolescence, where there was this sort of perpetual conversation around comparison. And ultimately the comparison was that I was never like these people, and I was never like these people, and these people were like talented, and these people were smart and wealthy, and these people had good families, and these people were like tall and beautiful, and these people da 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 da, and like going on, and like feeling this inner turmoil building up inside of me as this like 12 or 13-year-old girl, just feeling like worse and worse and worse about herself, because she's not those people, and those people are fantastic, so she must be the other. She must be not wealthy, not beautiful, not talented, because I don't know, it's the way my beingness interpreted those conversations at the time in my life. And I know now that I absorbed this sort of this real sense of unworthiness, and at the same time like a desire to break free from that, and a desire to be happy like those people that we talked about, be happy. And like literally like the majority of those people, they're happy, they're living their lives, they're enjoying. And knowing my life path of going into like darkness and suffering and toxicity and trauma and pain and wanting to die, like wanting to not be here. And so, you know, traversing really deep emotions and like, you know, doing, and a lot of my own insight comes from the fact that it was me. I was like squeaky clean and like high school, like entitled, like, you know, high achiever, and like, this is the way it is, and this is, you know, how it's gonna be. And then, you know, by my early 20s, life was just spinning out of control. Even my, like, basically once I had the awakenings, life started spinning out of control. Like, I could never drink responsibly. It was always like blackout, confusion drunk. And I was in a spin. I was desperate, you know, desperate to be able to succeed in the world. And then at the same time, like most nights, just drunkenly crying myself to sleep because I was so in pain. And it was like this sort of battle of like trying to fit in, trying to be good and fit into the world and fit in with these like social groups of these people around me, but always feeling like an alien, always feeling like, you know, this weird outsider. And it's bizarre to me, right? Because I came across Eckhart when I was like 19 years old, and I've been kind of practicing ever since. And it's amazing to me that there's still just people finding Eckhart, finding the power of now. And that tells me that there's still a next wave of the kind of human expansion of consciousness, and that brings like so much peace to my heart. You have no idea. Because the thing with these feelings is like, oh my God, like we're so, like as beings, we're just so innocent and like so pure. And once we can like peel back enough wounded layers, enough projection layers, enough confusion, enough fear, enough shame, whatever it is we energetically need to work through, when we can start to work through that, we just have this like pure innocent heart, and life shows up in really miraculous ways. And I gotta say, it continues to be diligent though. Like I continually have to let go, and I continually have to just let people be free. Let people live the life that they want to live, however they want to live it. And knowing like every single person, how they choose to live their life is their choice. It's their perfect life. It's their perfect journey, because every single one of us, even though it's intense sometimes, even when it seems like we're going down the wrong way, it's still all part of it. It's still part of the way. And I knew this share was going to be emotional. But you guys know what I'm like. I don't have any shame around my emotions. And I think our emotions, all of them, are actually really beautiful. And even our anger, even like, especially like being able to express anger and then see the anger and see like how much pain, like how much pain the anger is just like, rah! And especially when you own it, right? That's where you get this real sense of like the innocence of the beings that we are. And thus we're choosing not to be innocent, but like it's like the wounded, you know, collective, and just gently, one layer at a time, we're looking at our wounds. And for me, it's like I'm not afraid of the journey never ending. I just know that I can continue to feel, and I can continue to think the happiest thoughts, and I can continue to just be grounded and humble about like just being human and not having answers necessarily for people. Not having answers, not having anything ultimately. Just be an example of love, you know, as in it's only my own love. It's only been me choosing to love myself as much as possible and to live in a way that I want to live. And ultimately, the people who like gel that, the people who like vibe that, they're around, you know, they're part of my life. And the people that don't vibe that, they're not. And I think just when it comes to the heart, like the heart is just so pure and loving. It just like wants everyone to be happy. And it's when you realize that totalness, and then you're just like, you just want people to be happy. Because you know that everyone else's joy is your own joy. And here's the thing, guys, like, yeah, I'm a bit like crying today. And I just want to share with you, like, this is all part of it. The thought, the feeling, the healing. Like, I can feel releases. I can feel, like, weirdly, like, my actual, like, when I was driving back from Brighton yesterday, like, my actual, like, right there was hurting. And I just, like, it's like my heart is asking for, like, my own attention rather than trying to give it away all the time. Rather than trying to give the love away, like, it's like, girlfriend, just stay in your own heart. I'm trying to see if there's, like, a bit of a bruise. But there ain't a bruise. It's all I'm saying. Anyway, guys, I gotta go teach. Love you loads. Bye.